right, we're back again with another episode of Roofer Reflections. Really excited to have Erik and Luis. Thank you for joining.
No problem. We're happy to be here.
Erik, contracting business, Luis, content pro. I love the dynamic.
Yes, and those two things are becoming more and more intertwined as we move into this new technological age of contracting and roofing. So these days you can't really have one without the other, unfortunately or fortunately. So
absolutely, technology and innovation are cool. So walk me through your early thoughts around schooling and what you were doing back then.
Okay, so at 18, when I'm graduating from Glen Rock High School in northern New Jersey, if you had said, Erik, you're going to be a roofer at age 30, I would have been like, who are you? And what are you talking about? And when I went to the University of Delaware, I was studying psychology, but that's because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and psychology was just the most interesting to me. While I was at the University of Delaware, I was walking on the green, the main drag of campus, and I saw a sign, very simple, Times New Roman font, 12-point font, black and white, on one of the columns that says, want to make $25 an hour? Call this number. And I was like, I'm convinced. So I called that number, and it was a remodeling company that needed door knockers. At age, 20, I started door knocking, trying to book people for estimates for their actual sales rep to run them. So I guess you can say I used psychology in that application to convince people just by knocking on their door that they needed an estimate for windows, roofing, or siding or whatnot. Since then, with everything I've learned about running a business, running a roofing company, and all that entails, I guess the tools that learning psychology equips you. Not all of them, but just dealing with people, because I think running a roofing company, it's largely a people-to-people business. Yeah, we're installing shingles and putting on materials and whatnot, and new roofs, but you have to talk to somebody, convince them, persuade them to get there. So I would say that application of psychology is how I would use my education in roofing. So
how does content come into the customer experience?
So I'll start, Luis, and I'd love to hear your opinion. Basically, in the world we live in now, first off, roofing is a visual project, right? Like, you want to see how it's going to look. The homeowner, most homeowners, are not going to go up on their roof and check your work before, during, or after. With certain roofs, it's very easy to hide what you're doing up there. So visual media in this day and age, I think it just allows you to assert your integrity and your reputation. Luis is Mattsson Roofing's content creator, and I found him because of the content work he was doing for another home improvement company. So Luis, do you want to speak to that?
Content is important because it just helps to explain things to the client, to the customer a lot easier. When he's up on a roof saying, yeah, your skylight has all tar, it's horrible, this and this, and oh, but can you keep that skylight in there and just replace around it? Well, no, and let me show you why you can't do that.
Yes.
Doing that, when we're ripping up the flashing here, everything's gonna come up, yada, yada, yada. So it's a quick, for Erik to explain that to them. He doesn't have to explain it. It's like, look, this is what happens. So it's important in that sense, the content. It's also important for when Erik walks in the door and somebody's seen 2 or 3 pieces of content of him talking about his expertise and showing. It's just a softer introduction.
Yes.
They've already seen him, and they're already trusting. It's a more educated guess of like, should I use this guy or not? Opposed to the other roofer that they don't know anything about. They didn't see any content. They don't know, does this person know or not? Meanwhile, we're showing every day all these problems that we're solving, and basically, like, how did you find Erik? Through social media, probably.
Absolutely, Insta, for sure. I like this stuff.
Yeah, so there you go. So it's like, one thing I try to stress to clients is stop keeping all this information a secret. Let's give it to the people. Let's give it to the people and let them decide. So that's where I think it's important.
Walk me through how that weaves in the whole experience.
Yeah, so, and this is a learning experience. I mean, Luis and I have been working together a little over a year, so we are still trying to figure out the best ways to utilize all of the content, video, photo, audio that we're capturing. The way we're using it now is obviously as a marketing tool, a lead generation tool, where we're trying to get people comfortable and familiar with the way we go about serving them and working on their home, right? We're trying to bill ourselves as a problem-solving roofing company. We're at your house. We're not at your house to sell products. We're not married to this shingle, that shingle. We're at your house to solve problems, which is a big difference. So that's what we try to get across, and that's what we try to sell on, right? We are problem solvers that are interested in the best long-term outcomes for your home, roof, siding, gutters, whatever it is. So the way we've been trying to advertise that is when we run sales calls, when we run inspections, or even when we're doing a job. I mean, a couple days a week, Luis is with us in the field, just watching what we're doing. And you can say it's not even scripted to a sense, because he's really just following us with his camera. How do we use that then? In our sales process, we're trying to utilize content we've already created as a potential warm-up. So when somebody calls in being like, my chimney flashing is leaking, when we book that appointment, we can tell them, hey, go on our Instagram. We've solved this problem before, or YouTube, or we can even email it to them. Hey, just before our sales rep gets out there tomorrow, look at this video of us solving a problem that it sounds like you're having, and let the guy know if you think we're on the right track. And right away, people are getting to know our company, our approach, our vibe, so to speak. And then when we get out to the house, and we find out that they have other problems too, we can also follow up with the content that we've created as well. So it's not only just for advertising and lead generation, it's a valuable sales tool.
What were some of the key learnings that help you sort of, feel comfortable in operating a business?
One of the biggest things that I learned over the past 5 or 6 years is you can't be a yes man in this business. Early on, you have to say yes to a lot of things. So especially somebody like me, again, I had never installed a full roofing system when I opened up Mattsson Roofing. I'm sure if I had told a couple of my first customers that, I might not have gotten those first customers. But you have to work hard and say yes to a lot of things early on, so that you can kind of get a sense of what's good for you, what you can solve, and what's out there to solve. So then as you get comfortable with what you're seeing and also getting comfortable with what you like to do, that's when you can start saying no to more things. Like at our stage in this process, with the size of the company we are, it's almost becoming more about learning what opportunities to say no to and what opportunities to say yes to.
Luis, you work with different groups, different type of contractors. I mean, for people getting into the content side of things, what do they need to do to be successful?
First of all, you have to be confident in what you know, because all I do, my specialty, I always have people say, oh, I love the content you're creating. It comes down to the person we're shooting. And like Erik is the star, in the video that he's in. He's educating on his expertise. That's all we're trying to do. If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't really know, you're not an expert at it, then maybe you're not the one to be doing the content, because that's all we're doing. We're just trying to educate the people. So you have to be confident in what you're doing and what you know.
Erik, you've done this long enough. I'm sure people approach you that haven't, dipped their toes into the roofing industry. When people ask, what do you tell them?
I think the benefits and everything I've learned, the education in life, not just in school, but in life, that I've learned from owning a business, dealing with people, managing people, it is so much more valuable than sitting in a classroom for 4 years. And that, again, that's just my interpretation. But start a home improvement business when you're young. Take a crack at it. All it takes is, in my case, a truck and a ladder. If it's a pest control company, maybe you need a van. If it's any type of home improvement or home service business, those are great businesses to start for somebody that maybe has trouble sitting still, but is willing to work hard and really exert themselves in pursuit of their business and their goals. So my advice would just be, don't wait.
Luis, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would say, don't wait. Become an expert in that field and start educating people. Start recording yourself. Start getting yourself out there. The beauty of creating content for your own business is nothing has to go up. if you don't like it. You know what I'm saying? So I would say just become an expert and then educate people.